I think it's incredibly prevalent. If you look at sort of 1 in 6 or 1 in 5, maybe, of women have experienced domestic and family violence, so it's pretty prevalent. We know now that the impact on individuals who've experienced family violence can be really long-term, leading ultimately to a shorter lifespan. But obviously mental health issues can prevail throughout women's lives as a result of domestic and family violence. Again, it depends on what people have experienced. Obviously, some people die as a result of domestic and family violence. They're killed by their partners. Others experience things like strangulation. That's incredibly common. Half the women who go to a women's shelter have experienced strangulation, for example, and that can lead to frontal lobe damage and stroke and all sorts of injuries. So it depends on what women have actually experienced at the hands of a violent partner in terms of how they come out through that experience at the end.
So I think organisations are really grappling with how they approach domestic violence. There's a school of thought that that's what happens at home. It's got nothing to do with organisations. It's got nothing to do with the workplace. But actually, it has a tangible impact on the workplace.
About half of them were working or working a bit during the time that I spoke to them. And they talked about the troubles of both being at work when they were in the relationship, but also the troubles of working when they were trying to separate from the relationships. So when they were in the relationships, they had lots of different issues. Some women were being forced to go to work by their partners. So they didn't actually want to go to the particular job, but they were being forced to do the particular job. Others were being forced to stay at home on particular days and call in sick to their workplaces. Other women, even when they were sick, were forced by their partners to go to work. So there were lots of different experiences for women who were actually at the workplace when they were living with family violence at home. Some of them also obviously might have fairly serious injuries but attending work because they have to perhaps earn money for their family. So there might be a whole lot of experiences that women are experiencing when they come to work still living at home with a violent partner. And it's difficult to know what kinds of requirements might be placed on them by their partners. Some women will have a day job, but then they'll go home at night and have to do another job that perhaps run their partner's business or some other thing that they have to do as well. So there might be all sorts of things that they're coerced into doing or not doing. So I think it's important for businesses to understand that might be going on for some women. They might be dealing with those kinds of things at home. But when they separate from violent partners, there are a lot of issues that they have to confront. Often they have to move house, which often means they have to get kids into new schools. Often there are lots of issues in relation to legal matters. So the women I were dealing with, many of them had ongoing family court matters that sometimes went for 3 years or more, which might have meant they turn up to court 5 or 6 times a year for anything from a day to a week at a time. So quite significant requirements that court places on them. And then they might have domestic violence protection orders to attend. They might be witnesses in criminal cases. So there might be all sorts of things that they're doing in court processes to do with the fact that they're separating from a violent partner. So that means flexibility at work. It means that women might need time out from work to go and attend those kinds of things. Sometimes they will just need 1 day, and sometimes they will need 5 days in a row. So flexibility is a core thing there. So some women talk about how when they separate from their partner, their partner harasses them, continues to harass them at work. And that may be able to be dealt with in different ways depending on the workplace. So, for example, some women told me that they were front of house usually in their workplace, but when this started to happen, their workplace was very flexible about where they worked in the office and placed them in the back of the office, and that was really important for her. Other women talked about how they worked for quite a big company which had different offices around the city, and so they were able to move her to a different office so that he didn't know where she was exactly working, so that she would get some space there as well. Often too, male partners will stalk women at their workplace. They may hack into their workplace computers or other computers within the workplace. They may harass their work colleagues to try to get them sacked or to try to get through to these women. So we need an approach from those workplaces that come and support the women, that make sure that the women are supported in this and that they give them some time to get through it, while at the same time supporting their other workers. In some states, that can mean that the workplace can get a protection order for the workplace. In other places, there has to be more creative approaches, I guess, to manage that kind of thing. But there are potentially a lot of options that businesses can take to support women in this context.